Hi guys, this is our photo project on lines. So our objectives are be able to demonstrate skill in the use of the camera, use creativity in your photographic eye to create a series of 7 images that use leading line to create balance, structure, and dynamics in composition, and then use proper editing and post-processing techniques to create an album of leading line images. So our words worth knowing is leading lines. So leading lines are a composition technique or in photography where lines are used to lead a viewer's eye through the photograph. So understanding line is one of the primary requirements of photography. Hello, Frank. So line is the basic vocabulary of the photographic language. So think of it as verbs, adverbs, nouns, prepositions. So this is the most basic element that we need to focus on in photography. It is one of the primary requirements. Every photograph has line. So it is a very strong visual force and you need to use it effectively in your work. So line divides and connects objects, suggests moods and rhythm. It can create pattern. It indicates direction and structure in your compositions. It can suggest movement. And the 3 basic functions of line are pattern, structure, and direction. So looking at this image of Frida Kahlo, at first you'd be like, I don't really see a line, but think about how her arm is posed and how she has her elbow up, and that in itself creates an implied line. Her cover here creates a line and it goes around her shoulder, so everything has line. So as pattern, it's often a photograph's primary element. Lines interacting in an interesting way is very important in your work, so you always need to be looking out for this as you're shooting, no matter what you're shooting, whether it's a portrait, a landscape, or whatever. So it also creates a structure, it's like a framework for whatever your subject is to be arranged in your composition. So as structure, it divides the photograph into smaller elements, linking elements together. And this also leads into rule of thirds. But think of it as like an architecture on where behind your photograph, where you place things. So as direction, line helps your viewer's eye move throughout the picture. So in this photograph right here, just that pose, that back bend that the dancer's doing, my eye immediately follows the curve of the fabric and the curve of the arm going back. So you're using this to direct the person's eye in the photograph. So look here, stop here, move here. And you want to keep it in the composition. You don't want something pointing straight out. So without having some kind of direction, a photograph can be chaos, and then we're moving back into snapshot territory. So you need to think about where your lines in your photograph are pointing your viewer. So let's look at what type of lines create movement and what type of lines are static. So again, diagonal lines are always very dynamic. Even in this one in the right, the subject is not on a diagonal, but the background is creating that diagonal, which is creating this balance between the dog and the feet. So again, having that diagonal in the front where the camel's walking, the one on the right, that big block rock that's lighter in value is creating that nice dynamic diagonal. And then this famous image, this is what started the child labor movement, that diagonal that's coming in pointing at that girl working at that machine. And then we have curves. So curves are more gentle. They still keep movement, but in a more like gentle, softer way. But it makes your eye travel again, just like a diagonal. So this one, those caverns have that pattern. So line also creating pattern. And then even this image of the greyhound with the twist in the neck is creating a nice curve. And again, also roads, very nice way to create curves. Vertical lines are more energetic, that they're going up and down. So they create a little bit more energy. So if you're looking to create more energy in your work, you want to try to have a lot of vertical lines as well as diagonals. Horizontals are more calming because it's like the horizon line that we see outside. So horizontal, and you'll learn that in graphic design too, are more calming, less energetic. So anything that's like this. And here's another one. Perfect use of using a more top weighted line as well. So our photo project is using line as an expressive tool. You're going to shoot a series of 7 images that show your understanding of line. You're going to use line as the main focus of your composition to create movement, emphasis, and pattern in your photograph. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. Are you creating movement? Are you using them to your advantage? Are you using them to create patterns and structure in your work? So line should be the main focus. So why are we doing this? We need to develop our photographer's eye, and line is one of the most basic things to start with. We're going to gain skills in using our digital camera since we're just starting out, and proper editing of our images. And then also demonstrating creativity because you're using this simple thing, but you're using it to create a main focal point in your composition. So we're going to practice creating photographs and not just snapshots. On our cameras, we're going to be using the program setting to start out with. So it's a semi-automatic setting. So we are going to choose our ISO. And then the camera is going to pick the correct shutter speed and aperture to balance the exposure. You can override the camera, and if you would like to do that, I will show you using exposure compensation. And here are just some student examples to get you thinking about what you can do. Some of these are in film, some of these are digital, but all the same assignment. So using that line of the track, using the bleachers to point, having an angle on the building, having an angle on the goalpost. So all of these are using line in a very visually interesting way. So I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Good job.